Wow, people wey suppose talk truth to power don off mic. And if we talk, now 500,000 they go sama us, call them hate speech. But fear not, Maiyegun don't come. He go torchlight every corner, nooks and cranny of all these bad people where they spoil our country. So my people make we loud, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not the off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Can in the touchlight every corner, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Okay, some people be they holla say they want the power. Chai, them be promise us say we go get light and power. Them hustle sote they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This one not they off in mind, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that Maiyegun, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say Maiyegun diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Poor man picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say Maiyegun don't come. So my people make you loud, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. Maiyegun diary politico, oh yo yo. Maiyegun don't come, oh yo yo. This man not they off in mind, oh yo yo.
Hello there. Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Maiyegun Live.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Share this broadcast, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Maiyegun today.
Bó bá ṣe rere, àní Maiyegun máa wí. Ó sì tún ṣe rere, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun diary.
Their election is supposed to be over, but the campaign for recognition, for congratulations, seems to be the next stage as we speak, as Kalu battles integrity of a stolen election. That's actually the problem right now. Stolen election, getting legitimacy, getting recognition, and indeed, they will do anything for that.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Thank you.
Ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé.
Thank you very much. It was Femi Funny Kayode or For Food Kayode that went into a seizure, a mental gymnastic. Behind the scene, there has been so much problems. Let me explain something to you so that you will understand this conversation better, okay? Normally, rigging elections in Nigeria is not new. In fact, some of these Igbiris, the Lagos Abobakus, the Oshogbo Alimajiris, naturally, they expect their criminal leaders to rig. So it's not new. But what is new is that for the first time, somebody who actually paid to rig election in his own favor in Nigeria, like I said, rigging is not new. It's about who can out-rig the other. And usually when you out-rig that way, people don't actually raise any kind of anyway like useless election. No, thank God I'm not part of it. But for the first time, somebody who paid who paid them to rig election for him, who planned everything all along, finally they declared him winner. But he refused to celebrate. He refused to be happy that what he planned, something that should be the reward for his long political career. They say, oh, he has reached the pinnacle of his career. He became a senator. He became a governor. Despite all of his shady past, criminal life and everything, he is still drawing money as a former governor. So, and they said he made a lot of other criminals too. Then he finally, he was declared the president-elect. The country went into money mode, like somebody died. The person who fought to be president, they declared him winner. He can't celebrate. They are now hunting people here and there for recognition across the country. 8.7 million people that they said voted for him. They couldn't even come out in public to give credibility to these certificates. They are asking, why are you complaining about rigging? In fact, you know what other new thing is about this? Before their elections, they said that disobedient to now distant thought they go get. And they ensured that they put them in that thought. But the problem now is this. The thought is saying that the person they declared winner didn't win. Now the person they declared winner is now worried about the person in third place. It is so kind of unexplainable, but we explain them. Nothing unexplainable, so to say. So, a lot of other people, international observers, and many more have refused to give credibility. And all who needs that credibility, they started pressuring all the embassies in Nigeria. You need, why has your country leader, your country leaders yet to congratulate the president-elect? We need you to tell them, are they not following the election in Nigeria? Somebody has been declared. So how come your president, your country is yet to send us congratulatory message? Seriously? Really? they started lobbying and they started pressuring. Some ambassadors released statements, congratulations to the president-elect, congratulations, but they are not satisfied. UK Prime Minister congratulated them. The UK ambassador to Nigeria constantly, who is actually in bed with APC, by the way, right? Constantly try to give credibility to the election, but they are not satisfied. And well, it's not really flying. So the problem now is Femi Fani-Kayode went on Twitter and he tweeted this and more, okay? But just read this. Whether Joe Biden calls to congratulate him or not. Official Bat is the president-elect of the biggest, richest, most populous, most advanced, and most enlightened nation in Africa. And the Western world's biggest trading partner on the continent. They need us as much as we need them. This is somebody living in his own world, in their own echo chamber. And as it is, they actually don't give a damn about the consequences of their action because it is Nigeria. Waiting will happen. So he continued. Yes, the American State Department and the American ambassador to Nigeria both congratulated Asiwaju. For this, we are eternally grateful, and it reflects a measure of respect. However, it's time for Joe to pick up the phone and add his voice. We are a big nation. We deserve no less. This is Femi Fani-Kayode. And do you know why? Because there were reports that in America, okay, they were so shocked and surprised that the reports they were receiving, especially from INEC, how they deceived all of you to believe that they actually put a technology in place that will reduce or stop rigging and give credibility. So they convinced and deceived millions of the people in Nigeria and outside Nigeria that they were ready. It looked like it was going to be, but it wasn't. Sure you get. So from 25th of February, today is 15th of March. Is it 15th? Right. The president and the government of America is actually yet to acknowledge Tinubu as the president-elect of Nigeria. And it is not by error or by omission or by anything. So diplomatically behind the scene, one of the trouble that Tinubu is battling with right now, one of it that is actually likely going to make them to lose Lagos. Please don't take my word for that, okay? In case if you are so neck deep in their propaganda about Lagos. Normally it's meant to be working right now, mobilizing for Sanwo-Iku in Lagos. At least to show some, throw his weight around and the rest instead of leaving Sanwo-Iku to his fate right now. The reason is because, yes, INEC has declared him winner. Okay? No one is actually interested in who is declared winner. They are now questioning the process. Now, if the process is faulty, then the result is also going to be what? Unacceptable. So that is why America, for now, completely ignore Kolu. Do you want to know what their report says? They said that if the president of America says congratulations and all of that to Kolu, that too may actually have his own reprisal, political backfiring for him in America as well. Trust me. Because as many of you, as the whole world pay attention to what was going on in Nigeria, how it was going to happen, how it was going to end and the rest, yeah, so was America, as well as the population of Nigerians in America as well. Now take this to the bank, right? So all of this, Nigeria has become a political, the Nigeria election has become a political slippery slopey, is it called slippery slope? Even for America, as we speak. And Kolu, remember, one of the indictments that the whole world knows about, that actually made them to refer to Kolu as, this is how they see him, okay, is because of his American heroin deal. the indictment in America, okay, where he forfeited over 460,000 US dollars, okay, in heroin trade, as well as other crimes there, right? So they believe that they say a drug baron in Austria, right? They say a drug baron wins presidential election in Africa's biggest economy. Depression, anxiety, uncertainty beclouds Nigeria's political space as a drug kingpin wins the election. In Poland, Nigeria chooses a known drug lord as leader. These are what actually were on their front pages in so many of these international media. Okay, so Joe might be somebody who is like off and on as well. Yeah, those around him, they are smart enough to ignore them. And I think when they told Tinubu's presidential campaign council that normally congratulations should come naturally, but the report they received in America and all over the place is that it was the worst and the worst election ever. And in fact, it is an election that is pretty much like confirmed Nigeria sitting on a keg of gunpowder, very divided. And it is just plutocrats, okay, looters, rigging election to go and loot more. So if they give credibility to Kolu, that means they also they endorse and then approve a drug baron, a Boko Haram sponsor as vice, a drug baron as president. That can actually cost Joe Biden himself his own election. In fact, the Democrats in America will likely revote too. Now, this is the diplomatic side that he didn't say. That was what prompted those Twitter rage from the For Food Coyote. However, there is something even bigger cooking. You know NADECO, yeah? During the military era in Nigeria, there was a group called NADECO. I think it's just the acronym for National Democratic Coalition, something like that. NADECO, at the time, comprises of supposed Nigerians. And guess what? Of different background. Politicians, journalists, citizens, and on, who were in exile. I'm talking about those who had to run for their lives in the hands of the dictator, Sani Abacha. So they met in exile all over the world. There was no social media. There was no internet that much then, right? But they were able to keep a knitted relationship that became a global movement of exiled Nigerians who are fighting a barbaric, tyrannical government back in Nigeria. So they received the support of a global government. America, UK, everywhere they were. They were welcomed, they were supported, they were, you know what I mean? However, the real battle that gave them prominence was that of June 12, 1993 election. Considered to have been fairest, or whatever SS they added to it in the history of elections in Nigeria. In fact, it actually brought together supposed divided Nigerians to find a common cause, which they saw as the military. So Tinubu was a member, a founding member. So at the time, when they finally and successfully, right, pressured and forced the government of the military government in Nigeria to transition to a democratic government in Nigeria, a lot of them stayed out of politics. And some of them actually went into politics for real. And they contributed to the ruined and destroyed Nigeria that you are witnessing today. And today, the same NADECO that comprises of northerners, southerners, easterners, all over, in shame, they had to come out to reject what happened in Nigeria. And in fact, they have now took it upon themselves to start a global campaign to ensure that if Bokwari, if APC, if INEC Mahmudu, and even if Kolu, Bokwari, and the rest of them, including your judiciary, according to them, finally forced Kolu on you, it will have no legitimacy. And in fact, you should be ready for that bumpy ride ahead. Trust me, it's not going to be a nice ride. If it was going to be a nice one, I'm talking to you. Why are you not celebrating? Since Kolu is the president-elect, how come you are on social media fighting? Your campaign has ended. Abi, Shebi, you are supposed to be preaching that everybody come together, let us work. But you are worried, aren't you? 2 African countries in recent times where this same election rigging, manipulation, vote buying, intimidation, violence, and all that have been their own traditional ways of choosing their leaders. In the last few years, also experienced a kind of historical shock where those who actually controlled power rig their own what do you call it? Not proteges, no, their own proxies in to take over power from them, only for such electoral haste to be upturned by their Supreme Court. So there's so much that is still going to go into all of this. But NADECO seems to be leading the charge. Do you mind? Let's go take a listen to what they actually said about Kolu and what they are doing. Listen, I am just somebody who is here to help you, even if you are a Tinubu supporter, okay? Even if you are averse to truth, listen, you also need this information. You need them to make you understand probably how to prepare or how to get ready for what is actually coming. Trust me, it's not going to be nice. Legitimacy, Tinubu is not going to get that. And as we speak, even APC, Egbekegbe, do you know something? They have also started singing rigging too. Do you know that they started another one? They said Labour Party rigged elections in Lagos. That they have evidence. And can you believe the audacity that Labour Party come to Lagos to rig elections? Say, it's like a poisoned corn, not a poisoned roasted corn. You are collecting down payment for your death. Trust. And if you don't, I advise you to please follow me. NADECO.
Members of NADECO here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, I bring you greetings on behalf of NADECO and the people of Nigeria. NADECO welcomes you to the first of its series of events planned over the next several weeks regarding the recently held presidential election in Nigeria. For those who are not quite familiar with NADECO, I'll give you a little bit about the group. The National Democratic Coalition, for short, NADECO, is Nigeria's premier and foremost pro-democracy group based here in Washington, D.C. It was initially registered in Nigeria in 1994 by a group of very prominent politicians and pro-democracy campaigners who needed a platform to fight the military regime of the infamous dictator General Sani Abacha after he took power through a military coup in November 1993 and reneged on his promises to hold elections and return Nigeria to democracy, as was its birthright since obtaining freedom from British colonial rule on October 1, 1960. Sorry about that. A broad-based coalition transcending ethnic and religious lines was formed. which later gave birth to NADECO in Nigeria. No sooner had NADECO begun a peaceful resistance against the then military leader, General Sani Abacha, started to assassinate and jail its members. In order to save their lives, several of NADECO members fled into exile to neighboring African countries, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada. In 1995, those NADECO members who fled from Nigeria got together and registered a new NADECO in the United States. Since 1995, when NADECO was registered here in the US, it has continued to push for good governance and credible elections in Nigeria. NADECO alleges that the election results pronounced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on February 25 through 26, 2023, are fundamentally at odds with Nigerian election laws and constitute a wholesale disenfranchisement of Nigerian voters caused by the pervasive rot of Nigeria's increasingly kleptocratic political structure. NADECO demands that INEC draw back its curtains to let the full light of truth prove the transparency and veracity of the 2023 electoral process. It is without question that nearly all of the electoral reforms implemented to safeguard the 2023 Nigerian elections have been savaged by INEC and scattered to the winds of tyranny. It is beyond debate that initial investigation into the 2023 Nigerian presidential election discloses that Nigeria's most recent election is the polar opposite of transparency, fairness, and electoral integrity. This election was polluted by blatant bribery and widespread corruption. Even INEC itself has admitted to its abject failures to comply with the requisite transparency laws mandating real-time electronic transmission of election results from the polling units to the public, instead opting to cloak the electronic results in darkness before emerging with a declared rather than proved winner who is presently incapable of being fully embraced by the world. The INEC action clearly constitutes negligence per se and electoral fraud, as it violated the very statutory provisions and guidelines that are designed to protect against the type of fraud caused by its failure to transmit the results in real time. The people of Nigeria are supposed to be the ones the statute is designed to protect. Instead, they have found themselves at the receiving end of the resulting gross injustice. NADECO maintains that the 2023 presidential election is an attempt to disenfranchise the Nigerian people through the four horsemen of democracy's doom: bribery, voter intimidation, insecurity, and vote rigging, all harnessed to skew the results of the 2023 presidential election. NADECO calls upon the people and the judiciary of Nigeria and international community to join hands in a concerted effort toward global condemnation and absolute rejection of the hasty, hollow, and illegitimate result declared by INEC as being contrary to the will of the people and the rule of law. Here are some positions that NADECO has taken. NADECO is gravely concerned about the irregularities, voter intimidation, violence, the breach of the National Electoral Act, and most importantly, the abrupt and horrid pronouncement of the dubious 2023 presidential election results. This, in our viewpoint, signals a whole disenfranchisement of voters in Africa's largest nation. NADECO's goals and singular mandate have always been to fight for the rule of law and democracy in Nigeria as Nigeria's watchdog of democracy. NADECO hereby, as a first step, formally severs its relationship with Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a former founding member of NADECO USA for his participation in the worst electoral fraud in Nigeria's recent history. NADECO and Tinubu fought Abacha as the military dictator who scuttled the will of the Nigerian people in 1993 June 12 elections. Ironically, exactly 30 years later, in 2023, NADECO is fighting the same species of dictatorship, but only this time a much more dangerous civilian dictatorship.
A much more dangerous civilian dictatorship. Let me explain something to you, my listeners or my viewers. Like I said from the beginning, rigging elections in Nigeria is like normal, okay? But what is not normal this time around is the fact that the person they rigged, that they declared winner, as everybody saw how it happened, is unable to even celebrate that he won. The country is more or less like in a mourning mood. And rather than them to start preparing for transition and all of that, they are lobbying the world to endorse them. And you know why? The person they declared third is saying that whoever declares him, which is the INEC, okay, they have declared just whatever they cooked on their own. They are questioning the process. The process that said, if you vote, okay, your result will be transmitted right there. And this was the fraud and lie that INEC sold to the whole world, only for them to give you beavers machines. All of you were given beavers machines. But guess what? On the day of elections, they were uploading results of National Assembly elections, Senate, reps, successfully, no problem. But when it got to the presidential, they shut it down completely. And they resorted back to manual way of rigging that they said they were trying to avoid. So which means INEC backtracked on their own law. So if that is proven, that is what happened, then the result of that process is null and void. Do you get that now? That's their fight. But they said they rigged the election, but they accepted the National Assembly. No. You are mixing it up. The technology that was supposed to upload the result of all elections that day, they intentionally shot the one for presidential. And while everybody is struggling to upload presidential here and there, at the back end, they were writing the result, they were writing the figures. When they finally released it for some of you, they were already uploading ridiculous, inaccurate results, including people uploading their faces as result of the unit, uploading their legs, uploading their all ridiculous as results. Now, without even collating everything, the same INEC hurriedly at 4:10 a.m. announced the winner of the result, even with all of that, even when only 60% of the said result has been uploaded on their own server. Where did they get the result they announced from? All the numbers. That's exactly what they are asking now. That if they can prove it, if they can prove all the numbers for PDP, for Labour, for APC and the rest of them, yeah, then there and then is right to now say congratulations to whoever is now the winner. If it is Kolu, around that time you can then say, congratulations. But to now access that record that INEC announced, is now the problem. Do you get what I'm saying? That beavers they gave you is just a decoy. Something to make you think, they are using it to verify election, your voters, so that people will not vote more or you will not vote twice. It's just a decoy. What they actually did was that the same thing they normally do. Multi-printing, writing results, mutilating results, and destroy, that. Where there were no elections, results will be announced. Yeah? So while everybody was holding beavers, holding the INEC officials with beavers machine, at the back end, election law, this guy is also a member of NADECO. He was actually he actually traveled to Nigeria as an observer, as a voter, and this is his own report, where NADECO said we are no longer with Kolu. He's no longer a member. We have no relationship with him anymore, and we will never have any. Let's go more. It's going to be a long night, right? Have you liked this broadcast? Have you actually thumb up there? Have you liked it? No? Come on. I'll be back.
And we were participant observers in the election that just held in Nigeria. Or should I clarify, the sham elections that just held in Nigeria. I want to point out that as a participant observer, I traveled to my home state to participate in the elections. And the beavers technology refused to accredit me. So I experienced disenfranchisement right there and then. I know that at least half a dozen of my family members who voted in 2019 were unable to vote this time because of the cash crunch that occurred in the economy. So there were systematic efforts to disenfranchise and intimidate or strangle voters from being able to participate. But you can imagine my shock after monitoring in Benue, Plateau, and FCT and seeing thousands of Nigerians peacefully coming out to vote, to see that the results were not uploaded. Now, just to show you the extent of the mischief that occurred, the results for the National Assembly elections, which occurred at the same time, simultaneously with the presidential results, were able to be uploaded, but the presidential election results were not uploaded. And till this day, as we speak, the results have not even been completely uploaded. What is even shocking is that we have seen photographs of individuals, a woman in a bathroom, uploaded supposedly as results on INEC's IREF page till this day. How can you elect someone on the basis of the photograph of a woman in the bathroom? I want to quickly mention that a lot of the international observers who were there were as disenchanted as I was. There were 4 African presidents, former presidents, who were in Nigeria to observe the elections. There were over 144,000 observers deployed across the country, and they all were disenchanted by what they saw. I want to say that what happened in Nigeria was not election observation, but a crime watch. We watched a crime being perpetrated on a country of 200 million people with utter and complete impunity. I also want to say that President Jimmy Carter has been vindicated. He went and observed elections in Nigeria many years ago, and he was so upset at the impunity and the brazen theft of the election that he vowed never to go back to Nigeria again. And as that distinguished president is in hospice care, he stands vindicated because Nigeria has refused to learn its lesson. One of the American observers that I spoke with mentioned two things. One, he said that, well, at least this election was better than the 2003 election. And I said to him, if we're going back 20 years to compare, then we have not made any progress. And as NADECO has pointed out, this is even 30 years. The June 12 election, which was a travesty and a brazen rape of democracy or attempted democracy, is basically happening again. The sad point is that one of our co-travelers in the effort to restore democracy to Nigeria is now complicit in undermining democracy in Nigeria. In 1997, when I came on exile myself, after having been imprisoned by General Abacha, I had the privilege of meeting Senator Bola Tinubu in NADECO in exile in the UK. So we have been in the trenches fighting for democracy. And it is painful for us to see what is happening, that we're not making the progress that we think we should make. I want to wrap up my remarks by making a couple of points. That it is not that the elections in Nigeria were handled badly, but that the rigging in Nigeria was handled badly. There was no effort, there was no sincere effort to conduct an election in Nigeria. What happened was an insincere effort to conduct rigging. And that is why you will see cancellations. You will see unbelievable atrocities that were done. They didn't even make a genuine effort to hide the manipulation of the elections. I also want to make this second point, that it isn't that they failed to meet global standards, but that they failed to meet even their own standards. There is no way that INEC can say that the travesty that occurred was what they had promised time and time and again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that I join my voice to what NADECO has said today. The INEC chairman needs to resign for once again betraying the trust of the Nigerian people. The United States government should not dignify the travesty that has occurred by legitimizing illegitimate rulers. And most importantly, we must not fail the young Nigerians who came out in droves in the sun and put their fate in their own hands, that they wanted to rescue their country from bad leadership, only to be abused and misused in this manner. So I call upon the government of General Buhari, if he has any dignity and if he has any aspirations to any legacy whatsoever, to salvage Nigeria from the travesty that has occurred in the sham elections that held. Thank you very much.
46, 247, 248, 249, 250! Ovi for president, Ovi for president. Hey, Ovi, Fita, Ovi, I love you, Wallahi. Fita, Ovi, I love you, Wallahi.
Travesty. We call it charade. But according to that eyewitness, he said they went to supervise election rigging. That they didn't even hide it. Like, try to make it a little, I told you, rigging is not new in Nigeria. But this particular one, I mean, they will say election, then rigging. So we call it charade. They call it a travesty of democracy. You need to hear more. You do need to hear more. And it breaks hearts. Seriously. Especially those who are, all of us who are going to be the victims of this. Yeah, we are going to be the victims of this, right? Still talking about the NADECO. They also have their legal counsel. Their legal counsel also have this to say. I think this is particular one that will actually get you moody now. Be prepared for it. Okay? Something that would remind you and make you feel like, what happened to Nigeria? What really happened? How did Nigeria get to this stage? How come that despite the endowments that many Nigerians have and different exploits the Nigerians have actually carried out all over the world? Why this? You may not know why, you may not have the answer, but I promise you one thing. This one will get you indeed really moody. Consequences of a stolen election, right? Watch this.
Honored to be part of an illustrious group such as NADECO that has a long history of trying to do the right thing and keep democracy safe, restore democracy, and restore the rule of law. And the primary question I think that should be asked, most of the people here in the audience know this, is why should we care about Nigeria? Why should the United States care about Nigeria? Why should the international community care about Nigeria? What would you say if I told you that there was a country that has arguably the world's oldest democracy with full participation of all of its members? What would you say if I told you that there is a country where a group of people has the oldest written constitution featuring guarantees for individual freedom and due process in the world? What would you say if I told you there was a country that featured full participation of women in its political system, both to vote and to govern, and they started doing this when Europe was in the Dark Ages, in the 800s? What would you say if I told you there was a country that is consistently in the top 10 of oil-producing nations since the 1980s? What would you say if I told you this same country has never been openly antagonistic to the United States, has never been an enemy of the United States, in fact, has never been an enemy of the West? What would you say if I told you this very same country has the greatest number of doctors living in the United States of America per capita than any other nation in the world? More than England, more than Russia, more than Germany. What would you say if I told you that 29% of the immigrants from this country over the age of 25 hold a graduate degree, when you compare that to 11% of the population of the United States over the age of 25 holding a graduate degree? This country has almost 3 times more people holding graduate degrees here in the United States, contributing to our economy and our well-being and our security. What would you say if I told you the same country has 45% of the involvement of its people, the immigrants that live here, the diaspora, in education services, and most are professors at top universities? What would you say if I told you the same country I'm talking about has they're entering the medical fields and the technological fields in a rapidly expanding rate? They're increasing the U.S. economy. They are entrepreneurs. They are making America better, building tech companies in the United States to help the people back home. Would anybody be able to guess that country was in Africa? Would anybody be able to guess that country is Nigeria? Because it is. That's Nigeria. So when you say, why Nigeria, it is almost a fool's question. One of the greatest nations that has all of these things going for it, and yet we constantly turn our back on Nigeria. Shouldn't we be favoring this nation? Shouldn't we be more attentive to this nation? Shouldn't we treat this nation, this giant of an entire continent, not of a region or an area, of an entire continent that stands out as a shining beacon? Shouldn't we treat them as especially favored allies of the United States and indeed of the West? Especially given the insecurity in the world today with issues relating to extremism and energy shortages. Don't you think that this is a nation that the world should readily leap to the fore to protect, to ensure the well-being so it can continue on its pathway to greatness? Yeah, we're talking about Nigeria, the largest nation in Africa. It is the wealthiest nation in Africa, and yet it's the poorest country in the world. Nigeria now has more people living below the poverty line than any other nation in the world, which is a remarkable feat, given that there are 234 million people in Nigeria and approximately 1.4 billion people in India, the former dubious leader of world's poverty. How can we let that happen? How can we turn our back? How is that possible? Nigeria is also the site of the largest genocidal slaughter the world has seen since World War II. And yet nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. I am here very proud to be involved with NADECO because NADECO wants to do something about that. Something is very, very, very wrong. And it starts with the ability to choose your leaders in full, open, and fair elections. Nigeria has descended into a kleptocracy. And what that means is theft is the coin of the realm. Not due process, not laws, not fundamental fairness, not the pursuit of happiness, not freedom, not family, not religion, not work, not prosperity, but who can steal the most first and go back and steal some more. And that is something that I believe the Nigerian people can solve on their own, but they're going to have the help. We cannot continue to turn our back on Nigeria. The international ramifications or aspects are very clear. Article 25 of the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights, which was adopted in 1966, became law and active in 1976, was adopted by the United States in 1992 and by Nigeria, fully adopted, says that every citizen shall have the right and the opportunity, without any of the distinctions mentioned in Article 2 and without unreasonable restrictions, to take part in the conduct of public affairs directly or through freely chosen representatives, and to vote. This treaty signed by Nigeria and by the United States, and by the way, in the United States, when we sign a treaty, it becomes the law of the land with certain restrictions. So the United States has to comply with this. Nigeria has to comply with this international edict. It is as fundamental as any human right. And let me quote the UN, the Covenant 25 says, to vote and to be elected at genuine periodic elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage and shall be held by secret ballot, guaranteeing the free expression of the will of the electors. Honored to.
You listen to that? A lot of you said it's so emotional when it was reeling out those qualities of Nigerians. A lot of Africans, they look forward to Nigeria. You have no idea. Even though majority of them don't know that those who are in Nigeria, they will switch their citizenship with theirs in some of these African countries too. But here is the irony of it. They continue to present Nigeria as the giant of Africa based on the population as well as the quality of citizens that you actually meet out there who are like, they are breaking, like, you have no idea. So a lot of people were looking forward or looking up to Nigeria, only for Nigeria to continue to disappoint them. And Nigeria then became the role model for bad governance, bad leadership, divisive politics, and so on in Africa. Like, who is going to be the big brother? Who is going to wield the big stick? Nigeria, the useless big brother? Ah, come on. Shut up, Jerry. We are talking about, you know what I mean? And like Nigeria is always, it will always disappoint you. I really feel sorry for a lot of people, right? Who still have so much emotion attached to believing that Nigeria go still better. I still believe Nigeria go better. I kind of feel for you because I know those of whose feelings are actually genuine. But now people like you, then they manipulate, deceive, to validate whatever fraud they put together. Once they get what they want to get, they will break your heart again. Do you get that? There are some of us that, as young as we are, Nigeria has broken our hearts again and again and again and again, that we could barely spare any emotion for any promise that they will say, oh, there is a shining light on the horizon. Let us be positive and all of that, right? We actually have no emotion whatsoever left. But it is like the baby and the biblical cord. Somehow, you just can't separate them that much without, them remembering where it's buried. So until Nigeria is disintegrated, Nigerians inside Nigeria right now will never meet their potential. It's going to be a generational battle. Unfortunately, not many actually believe that is possible, right? Not many. Okay. Back to the fraudulent elections. According to NADECO, it is not about the winner. It is about the process. I mean, was that not what Obi himself said just a few days ago when they denied him access to inspect, the access or grant him access to inspect the election material? They said, Shebi, you have declared Tinubu winner. Okay, fine. That's okay. We are not going to say congratulations if we don't see the numbers. Show us the numbers. So Obi said,
the declared winner did not win. You might have been declared by whatever means, but you've not won the election. Reuben, to win is to win the people. Democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. That means if you must win the people. But if you don't win the people, you've not won. And I can tell you, the last election, the declared person did not win. However, that is what we're challenging. The rascality is what we're challenging.
The rascality said is challenging. So what happened is that INEC that declared winner, okay, she just bring out their document to show how they arrive at the number. That's just what they're asking. And that is exactly what the likes of Femi, Foni Kayode, Dele Alake, and the rest of them don't want. Do you remember this, their press release, where they are like asking everybody to come and congratulate him? But look at the aggression. Look at the blood shots. Look at the tone. Listen to the tone of their voice. It can't be like person who steal somebody who stole somebody's something, and then start shouting on you. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like if they shout on you, if they scream at you, you'll be scared, and then you forget it. I'll take you back before I take you to Washington again. Washington, D.C. Do you remember this press conference of these guys? It's a flashback. Oh, this is not recent. Oh, just about 2 weeks ago. Flashback.
Restricted to the campaign podiums. But obviously, this is after the campaign. At his press conference yesterday, he said with a lot of emotions that what he wanted to come and stop in Nigeria is fraud, corruption. And he gave an example of his own type of corruption. That in this country, that this is a country where we have seen people, lawyers, becoming SAN without attending law school.
Very, very sad. That's terrible.
Go and listen again and watch again.
Very sad.
How can a lawyer become a senior advocate of Nigeria without going to law school?
Yes.
How can that lawyer even become a lawyer?
Yes. It's very sad.
Without attending the law school. So, you know, what that tells us, those of us who are analysts, when we psychoanalyze such a person at that level, spewing lies and fake statistics, it must be an incorrigible liar.
Yes.
And when a person is an incorrigible liar, yes, there is a deeper problem. The problem is pathological. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just... Is this working? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? You can hear me? Okay. Let me just add this to what my colleagues have said. First of all, that Peter Obi is an incorrigible liar is a fact. But quite apart from that, we have to understand that the PDP, which is the real focus that I have to say, and I have to focus on, are a castrated machine, totally and completely castrated. They came into this election, as Dele said, without all their limbs intact. So the outcome was very obvious from the start. We knew this would happen. We also knew that they would whine, they would lie, they would complain, and they would feed their own egocentric nature by telling the sort of lies that their candidate told yesterday. But you know, we understand the pain, so we can allow them to do that. I mean, that's perfectly natural when you've lost an election and your party has been totally and completely decimated. So it's understandable. What I think is something that we just cannot forgive is the attempt to incite Nigerians, because there is an attempt to incite Nigerians against INEC and against this result and against our candidate. This is unacceptable. To get on national TV and quote and say that our candidate was described as a drug baron in a foreign land is utterly shameless. For Atiku to say that, he's nothing but shameless.
The president
and I refute that. This is the President-elect of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that we're talking about. And I completely refute that. It's unacceptable behavior, unacceptable language. Atiku is a wicked and treacherous man, a dark and malevolent soul, and an incorrigible and unscrupulous liar. He claims to have played a role in the June 12th struggle. That is patently false. He was amongst those that betrayed MK Abiola and the June 12th struggle. Years later, he betrayed Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, his mentor, Olusegun Obasanjo, his boss, Umaru Yar'Adua, his brother, Goodluck Jonathan, his friend, Muhammadu Buhari, his president, and the PDP as a party. That is his party. That is the creature that claims that he won the election. Unacceptable behavior. Now let me end with this. He has a guerrilla that follows him around. We all know that. But let me tell you where this is all going to end. And mark what I'm about to say. Both that guerrilla and all the others that are encouraging him to be belligerent, insulting, and telling lies to the people about what he claims to be his own mandate. By the time Atiku finishes negotiating, when all is lost, he loses in the court, he will negotiate. He will come, he will beg us, and then he will go to Dubai, and he will not take any of them with him. They'll be left here all alone. And that is what they have to bear in mind. This mandate was given by 8 million Nigerian citizens, born free, freely gave their, almost 9, freely gave their mandate. Are we to be pushed around? Are we to be told that we're insignificant? Are we not Nigerians as well? We will go to court. We will defeat them in court. We will defend our mandate, and they must not incite. We know where this is all heading. We will not allow it to happen. There will be no June 12th. This election will stand. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be the president of the Nigeria for the next 4 to 8 years by God's grace. That's all I have to say.
Right, let's have questions.
If you don't be vote APC for a year, go your house. Nobody force you come here. Go out, so if I see you vote another, I will come look at. If I see you vote another party, go ahead and house. No come joke for you. This territory where you get, na APC, go your house. Go relax.
That's in Lagos. So one of the thousands of evidences that's going to show that indeed election didn't happen in Nigeria. In fact, they couldn't even rig well. That's what one of the observers said, that they couldn't rig well. Did you hear Femi Fani-Kayode? Everybody's coming to make deal with us. Everybody's coming to negotiate. Did you hear that? Yeah? Somebody that is insulting people, using foul languages on them, is now like, it's complaining that somebody like Gorilla was, you know what I mean? So that's Femi for Food Kayode and all that. Let's go back to that Washington, where the legal counsel to NADECO was making a speech. Let's continue that.
Not the result, it's the process. How our government works, how our elections work. And the process of this election in the 2023 Nigerian presidential elections appears to be fundamentally flawed. We believe, NADECO believes, that the February 25 to 26, 2023 election, the results, the hasty announcement of the results, are fundamentally at odds with the Nigerian election laws. And as Dr. Ogebi said very clearly, they didn't just violate rules, they violated their own laws. INEC glorified their efforts to make this the cleanest, the purest, the most transparent and fair election in Nigerian history, in African history. And yet they violated every single fundamental tenet in every single law. They instituted the bimodal voter accreditation system. You've heard about that, the BVAS. All that is, make no mistake about it, there's a lot on the internet that seems to people want to believe that when you voted with the BVAS that recorded your vote and your vote was sent somewhere and it went to a server and it was tabulated and somehow Tinubu or the APC were able to hijack that electronic signal. That's not what happened. It was more pernicious than that. It was more old-fashioned than that. All the BVAS does was gave you two modes of identification, both your card, you put your voting card, your PVC in, and it also did your fingerprint and face identification. But it failed. And the reason BVAS was important is so that people couldn't vote more than once. Vote early, vote often. The reason it's important is so people could not vote that had fake cards. And on the issue of the PVC cards, INEC announced, this is INEC themselves, said that there were 87.2 million PVC cards collected. That was out of 93 million registered voters. So approximately 6 million people were registered. They just didn't bother to get their voting card. No one knows why. It just happens. But what's fascinating is, if you consider it true that 87.2 million people had PVC voting cards and could have voted, the declared winner of this election received 8.7 million votes. Now, out of 87 million, the math's not real hard. That means that Mr. Tinubu got 10% of the vote. He will be ruling the wealthiest economy in Africa with a mandate of 10% of the population. That's extraordinary. Something is seriously wrong. Something is seriously wrong. Additionally, we believe that what has to happen and why we're here today, and NADECO is leading the charge, we believe that INEC has to prove itself. It has to prove the results it announced were true and were real. There are 176,600 polling stations. That's a lot of polling stations. INEC's rules required each polling station to collect the votes, count the votes, and they do it the old-fashioned way. They get the paper votes, they count them. They put them in stacks for each of the primary candidates. They were to gather those results, publish the local results, and then transmit the results, and ultimately they would go to Abuja and be certified. Well, what happened was they published some of the results early on, and then they took them down. And so what they have is something that looks a little bit like this, scribbling, when it used to look like this, where it was written. Someone didn't like the results. That's what appears to have happened. Dr. Ogebi observed it happening. So what we have is vote rigging, vote buying, and bribery. So despite INEC's efforts, nothing good happened. And we're back to the same old thing, the same old efforts. So what do we do? What do we do in the United States? What do we do as members of the diaspora? What do we do as international attorneys or international law folks? What do we do to ensure democracy can thrive? That the promise of 1960 can become true again, hopefully.
Hopefully. That's what I wanted you to hear before I stop the video. Then I'll give you the concluding part. Because they know. Some of you may be wondering, because the usual way, oh, look at that white man. Oh, don't trust them, the imperialists. Oh, the capitalists. They are just calling this because of our crude oil. I know those are the common, what do you call it? Common reactions when you see white men speaking against what is wrong in Africa generally. I understand that sentiment, but there is something I want you to also please pay attention to. He, as an attorney working for pro-democracy, groups and all of them, normally, right, is going to associate with, everything around him is going to be what? Associated with what is going on in Africa and where they want him, okay, as an attorney to advise them and all that. And at the same time, how they is going to help them or how they will help them to legally access real support from around the world. That's his own job. So you can say somehow you can only do that kind of job for long if you really, really have interest in Africa. It has nothing to do with whether your resources or not. But there's something I want you to pay attention to. Them talking about Nigeria or anywhere in Africa, especially Nigeria, right? It's not because they love Nigeria that much. In fact, it is because they love their countries more. Nigeria is such a big partner to the West in Africa, West Africa, and the entire Africa, so to say. You know why? Nigeria has the population of over 200 million people, we have been told. Nigeria has been ruled and led by dictators, murderers, and genocidists for decades. Nigeria is considered as one of the most corrupt nations you can call, most mismanaged, no doubt. But there is something that there's a role Nigeria plays for the West. And that is keeping all of us in that contraption, whether we like it or not. If you protest and their military comes out and shoots you dead, America is watching. So if that is what it will take to maintain and keep all of you scared, because if anything breaks out, if Nigeria breaks apart, the entire Africa alone will not be able to contain Nigerians that will be spilling out. You see, America visa, where they not give you, UK visa that they have not been given to you, a lot of you in the journey to safety, you will get to that America. You'll be surprised. How did I make it to America? You won't know. You will make it to Canada. You will make it to as far as China as refugees running away from Africa. It's such a huge number that it can send the entire Africa into a spiral economic crisis, serious one. No, Africa can't take or absorb the numbers of Nigerians that will actually have to leave Nigeria. India droves. Europe will feel it. So anybody, dictator, corrupt or not corrupt, they should just do it normally. Show you here. But when they begin to sense that these people are so divided now, any small bazooka, so that's why most of the time they quickly rise and they try to clip the fingers or the wings of your leaders, including in Nigeria. They Google say, you are descending to this and that. So, sure you get. So these are the symptoms for that. Them feeling like the way this Nigeria is going, even if they force Tinubu on you, are you with me? Even if they do the swearing and he's now your president, it's just a matter of time before the whole thing will explode. You don't get it. Don't worry. Forget about it. Okay? But listen again. I think this should be the concluding part. Again.
Show me your math. We've all gone to school. Show me your math. You've got a number. Show me how you got to that number. Prove what you did. There can be no debate that the initial investigations indicate that they were savaged. The rules were savaged. The rights of the
Right? I love what somebody just said there. That is also the reason why the agitators and then what do you call it? The agitators and the self-determination advocates, right? This is why they won't go far. Because if you get what you want with the way Nigeria has become right now, undemocratic, dictatorial, tyrannical, right? If any war is ignited in any part of Nigeria for real, it will trigger that breakup. And then it will trigger, according to their feelers, it will trigger that huge, massive migration out of Nigeria. And Nigeria will not survive any civil war again. Do you know that? Nigeria cannot survive another civil war. So they will do everything. The government, even if the government is killing agitators, America is saying, United Nations are saying. So when you tag them, when you call them, United Nations, come and help us, United, you know what I mean? They are seeing everything. Because according to them, that is the only thing they can do to keep Nigeria one. But it can't be like overblown bubble where everybody is trying to hold together. But as you are trying to hold it together, it keeps expanding. It's about to blow. You are trying to like force it together. It keeps expanding and it's about to blow. So eventually it's going to blow. So the world that is trying to make sure Nigeria remain one, for this same singular reason of curbing and maintaining migration, it hasn't helped. In fact, it's like holding on to a ticking time bomb. It is eventually going to happen. So they're asking, you declare somebody winner? Show us your number. Let us see the numbers. Show us. How? You arrive at this. Continue.
Show me your math. We've all gone to school. Show me your math. You've got a number. Show me how you got to that number. Prove what you did. There can be no debate that the initial investigations indicate that they were savaged. The rules were savaged. The rights of the electorate were savaged. It was polluted by blatant and widespread corruption. And as Dr. Lloyd said, the four horsemen of democracy's doom, bribery, intimidation, insecurity, and vote rigging, appeared to trot and run roughshod all over the nation. They were harnessed to skew the results. We, NADECO, call upon the people of Nigeria to act peacefully, but to demand that proof be provided to them, that INEC prove the results they've announced. We also call upon the international community to join together with the Nigerian judiciary in a concerted effort to condemn and set aside the hastily announced results and instead proceed with the solemn seriousness this deserves. Again, one of the world's great nations is at peril here, continues to be at peril here. We need to make sure we don't continue to turn our back on Nigeria. And what we're asking for is very simple. Prove to us. Prove. NADECO says prove to us that if there is a Nigeria and there is a democracy in Nigeria, that it was arrived at lawfully and in accordance with the rule of law. The continuation of power by the ruling party is a wholesale disenfranchisement of Nigeria without more. That is little more than a dictatorship. And it's a new dictatorship. But it is nonetheless a dictatorship because it's imposed apparently against the will of the people. And we believe the will of the people of Nigeria must be preserved, it must be sanctified, and it must be held with the most solemn of regard. This event is designed to lead a global call to action to address INEC's duplicity and to make sure that the truth is told and that what happened is exposed and the next steps can be taken. And I, for one, I know there was a lot of skepticism. I've appeared in this, well, a few rooms over a few years ago on the Uzodimma issue. I was involved in drafting briefs that were filed there. The Nigerian judiciary cannot always be relied on to do the right thing in elections. But I take a little bit of hope. You've got to be an optimist. You have to be an optimist because your faith in God and your love for your country and your love for your family, you got to be an optimist. The Nigerian judiciary showed us they have the ability to disregard what INEC says and chart their own path toward justice. Now, we may disagree with what they did with Uzodimma. Certainly, Ihedioha disagrees, and my clients did, but they have that ability. So the Nigerian judiciary, there's a small spark of hope. Their recent ruling to free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and to impose a substantial fine of 1 billion naira for his wrongful retention, that gives you hope. I believe the Nigerian judiciary can do the right thing. But if they don't, we also believe that the international community has a burden. It's far too long disregarded the great Nigeria. We cannot turn our back. The will of the people of Nigeria must be preserved. Thank you.
So that is the challenges ahead. As those who helped Kalu to rig elections are now being called to come and show the numbers, show the math. In Rivers State, where Wike committed the worst election rigging ever by anybody. And he is not ashamed of it. Right? So they are now asking people, why have you not congratulated me? To the point that Tinubu was going to people's homes, to people's houses. Hi, how are you? How you doing? Sorry, do you know that I'm the president-elect? Yeah, I saw it on TV. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations, Oh, thank you. How come you didn't post it online to congratulate me on social media? Oh, I've been busy. I'm sorry. I have to come to your house to remind you. But you know I'm the president-elect. That's exactly how Tinubu is. And those around him, they are bullying people to agree and accept something that they can't even verify. So when that guy said he's optimistic, that guy said, I'm optimistic that there is a glimpse of, hope. But if that fails as expected, it's going to fail. The international community will have to take it on. International community is not going to stop Tinubu from being sworn in. Let me say that to you. Please don't begin to think, yeah, thank God, America have not accepted him. They will not allow him to be. Don't believe that nonsense. Please, don't let anybody say that to you. Okay? If your Supreme Court does not stop him, America, United Nations, and any other thing that you probably kind of think about, Russia, anybody, they cannot stop his inauguration. But what will happen is it will never have credibility. And that is going to rub off on all Nigerians, wherever you are all over the world. It will rub off on you. Your press, everywhere you see him, it's going to be like it's being forced. Okay? You will begin to have to associate with countries that Nigeria is supposed to give money. You get that? You know, there are some countries that if to see Nigeria is a real place, you are supposed to be giving them money. How are you? Take this money, help your economy from your big brother, Nigeria. Oh yeah, take this money. There will be those that Nigeria will be meeting with Kalu and the rest of them. And wherever you see them in the world, wherever you see Kalu as president, you will see that it is being forced. Like, man, look at him. Oh, my shoe. You will be seeing Kalu, you will be shaking your head. And good luck with that. And everybody around Kalu, they will be fighting day and night for credibility. And that's what this is going to be all about. It will be trying to prove to you that it doesn't matter even if you don't see him as a, but it means, well, I want to help you. No, you are not helping anybody. Nobody cares. So that is going to be the future of Kolu. But if what has been recorded in Africa lately, Tanzania, Zambia, is it Zambia? No, Zambia didn't go to court. They actually won outrightly. Opposition, right? Then Kenya, yeah, where somebody got rigged in. But the only difference here is that when they rigged Obi, the one that is third, somebody that is third, right, is saying that I won and I'm going to prove it. I will prove it to everybody. Somebody that was second, though, that is second, Atiku, he's not even like really pushing much. He's not worrying himself. Or maybe as a veteran in the election case and all of that, election petition tribunal, maybe it's just, he has another means. Because today, he has withdrawn his case against INEC to inspect INEC materials, even when Obi is still adamant. Somebody that is third says the person you declared didn't win. And the person that is declared winner is so worried that somebody that is third is not accepting him, and they are so scared that he could upturn everything. It is such, it is such a, what do you call it? A sort of not peaceful way to feel as a winner, is it? Now people are saying that Maiyegun, their mind will not rest. They have stolen from the wrong person. They have stolen from the wrong generation. And they are going to live in the shadow of that for the rest of their lives. And I'm beginning to believe that. So, Peter Side, you remember Peter Side? Somebody has an explanation, by the way, on what really happened and why Tinubu and his people are now shopping for endorsement, congratulations, and what have you. Take a listen. The credit for this clip actually goes to the Arise News, every second of it. And you can actually watch the full content on their channels too. But for this part, please.
Homework, so I can speak a little.
I am exceedingly eager to hear what your homework entails. But before we get to it, I mean, your political affiliation is a little bit murky. At one point, I believe you were a member of the Social Democratic Party, the SDP. Are you still in the SDP?
Oh, yes, I'm still a proud member of the SDP, so please don't get confused, Charles.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up, because, of course, you publicly endorsed Peter Obi on this program ahead of the presidential election. I mean, I wonder if you went out and actually voted for him on February the 25th.
Oh, yes. I said I was going to vote for Peter Obi, and I voted for Peter Obi. I was one of the luckier people. I came out on Saturday morning, the polling booth near my house in Victoria Island. I saw the crowd, the youth there. I joined them. They told me to go in front and vote, that I was an elder. I was accredited successfully by Beavers. I voted and left and put up a tweet that it took me all of 5 minutes to vote. And later on, I just came back to get the results, you know, at the end where they were counting. And in fact, I believe you have the result of my polling unit using Nigerian parlance. I'm among those who managed to deliver our own polling unit.
We've called that Exhibit 1A, so we can see it on the screen right now. Tell us about that.
I think there's always a little delay, so what you see in Abuja will probably show up here in Lagos a few seconds later. But I think the Exhibit 1A was the results from my polling unit. So even though I cannot see it, I have the results with me. I mean, my polling unit, the result was, there were only just under 100 voters. Labour Party had 51, APC had 26, PDP had 15, and APN 1, ZLP 1, and 3 votes were voided. So Labour Party won and got almost double the votes of APC, and that was in Victoria Island in Lagos. The polling unit is the one called Ozumba Mbadiwe, or polling unit number 240801031. So
Right.
later on, I checked the results. I mean, this is what we're supposed to do. When the results came out on INEC website, I went and checked the results, and that is Exhibit 1B. I saw the results sheet there. It was published. What INEC published for my polling unit was the exact same results that I saw on the day. So I don't have any problem with my polling unit. And if this was the experience all over the nation, I will be the first one to say there's nothing to discuss. Unfortunately, the evidence shows that I was one of the luckier ones in terms of being able to vote early, no voter suppression, no delayed start. The results that were published were the same as what we counted. And so everything was hunky-dory.
Well,
So if we go on...
Right, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that, I mean, we're seeing all kinds of polling booth results now being uploaded or displayed on social media, I think uploaded on iRev as well. I mean, how satisfied are you with the presidential election results as declared by INEC? And if you're not satisfied, why not?
I'm not satisfied because I saw too many irregularities. And please, all the information I'm using is in the public space. The information I'm using is available from INEC website in terms of the iRev and the result sheets versus what in some cases the parties and the polling agents are insisting is the result. And I will give a few examples. You know, if you show Exhibit 2A or something like that, and because it's not, and don't forget that there are whistleblowers. A polling agent might be 22 years old. If you bring out the wrong results, he starts screaming, begging everybody to come and look at what he has put up or what you have put up. So I don't know if you're able to show Exhibit 2A. All I'm seeing is on your program, I'm seeing myself.
Now, we can see it on air, so you can tell us about it. It's on air at the moment.
Well, okay.
You may not see
okay.
it, but it's on air.
If you can see it, yes. Okay. The Exhibit 2A shows you somebody from Rivers State. Just an example, I could have gone anywhere, but Rivers State is also my home state, so why not? So people there have my telephone number, they have my contact details, they have the right to scream and say, look, Oga, come and see what's going on here. So what do you see there? A young polling agent is screaming. In my polling unit in Rivers State, he says, Labour Party got 223 votes. APC got 8 votes. Let's just stop there. The other parties got very little. So I repeat, Exhibit 2A, the polling agent is screaming, Labour Party got 223 votes. APC got 8 votes. When you go to Exhibit 2B, that is published by INEC on the iRev. Now, it's possible this polling agent is wrong, but the results are reversed in Rivers State, where he says Labour Party got 223. INEC has uploaded APC 223. Where he says APC got 8, INEC has uploaded for APC 223. Now let me explain something about Beavers. So some people don't know. The one important thing Beavers does is that all the votes must add up. So you must always make a minimum of 2 changes. If you make only one change, it will not add up, unless it was somebody that scored 0. And even then, if you change 0 to 0, only then will you have the same result. But you must make 2 changes. So this polling agent is screaming that they reversed the result. Labour Party is saying got 223, APC got 8. INEC is showing the exact opposite between those 2 parties. So the votes are balanced. And when you look at the image that INEC actually uploaded on iRev, you can see on the right-hand side where they put where they put the words. You can see that the words have been altered. Tipex has been used. Hey, I'm not an criminal investigator. I invite people to go and look at the same information themselves. This is polling unit number 32, 15 07 031. You can see that beside the APC.
Like, did you get what is driving at, Abi? Now, just think about that in tens of thousands of polling units where they actually to turn things around. And he's actually so right. In fact, using Rivers State as a case study, right, is so brilliant. Because even in Rivers State right now, Nigeria said INEC has announced election results, right? And the people of Rivers State, weeks after that, they are still demanding for this. Do you get that? They were disenfranchised. In some of those places, their results were changed. And some people are actually joking about that, right? There's a joke about what happened in Rivers State, the rigging, the political haste that happened in Rivers State, right? There's a joke. They said that Tinubu asked Wike to just ensure that he gets 25%. And Wike, out of stupidity, decided to overrig to the point that they can't even ask them to come and prove it. That's how bad the election, was. And elections, as they say, have consequences. And I agree. But for the first time, there is an existential pressure on those who used to sit in their comfort zones, having realized that they've conquered the people and they could barely fight them back until the obedience came. Today, they are still ridiculous, but with one election left, a lot of them are trying to be what they have not been in years. And it's quite fun to see. But what is not fun to see is that what happened on the 25th of February, that election or charade, might actually be a tip of the iceberg of what is still to happen, as one of them in Lagos, which happened to be the supposed traditional seat or traditional home of the president-elect, Tinubu. He was beaten in his own home states. They beat Bokwari in his own states. They beat El Rufaya in Kaduna. They beat Gandola in Kano. They beat their campaign chairman in Plateau. And that's exactly what happened all over the place. Now, according to them, we were not prepared. Remember, when they talk about structure of Tinubu, my guys and my people, they are talking about this structure of violence. But whatever this looks to you, just know that it is just a tip of what is still coming. Tinubu structure in Lagos, and they see shop beating, they see beat them. After all this braggadocio.
You don't vote APC for a year. Go your house. Nobody force you come here. Go out, so if I see you vote another, I will call look at. If I see you vote another party, go ahead and you no come joke for here. This territory where you dey, na APC. Go your house. Go relax.
So, APC, Egbekegbe structure. That's one of those structures, okay? Violence, intimidation, the structure of criminality. You will call it, Abi? They don't always go violence. They don't always go like violence and all that all the time. In fact, the bribery in Nigeria elections, Abi, this is what this looks like. After 8 years of impoverishment, after 8 years of terrorism in Kaduna, APC get mind to go bribe people living in this kind of a condition with food 3 days to elections. That is Nigeria of 2023. APC modeled type of empowerment, APC model type of government that they actually are projecting on all of us. A poverty capital of the world. And it is so wrong for you to actually live well, except for them. That's criminal, isn't it? That is APC. Egbekegbe that is in government in Kaduna. And if you think that is not, that's cringy. You know, APC, Egbekegbe choose Muslim ticket, Abi. And then they turn around to blame Peter Obi for inheriting the Christians that rejected the Muslim ticket. So they now put it on him and said he's campaigning on religion. is telling all the churches this or that. Take a look at this. This is an internal memo from the office of Secretary to the government of Kaduna State. What do you see on your screen? This is like a normal thing in northern Nigeria. State governors will mobilize money to pay sheikhs, clerics, to spread hateful religious messages, divisive messages, in the name of Allah, in the name of Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But behind it, and they will tell you, once our imam, once our sheikh Alu Fulani, Sheikh Alu Bariki, and all those funny sheikh they have there, criminals, once they get paid like this behind the scene, then they begin to issue fatwa. They will begin to threaten everybody. They will begin to, you know what I mean? They will begin instigation. Now look at this. This one is for Saturday elections, okay? In 2019, that was how El Rufaya mobilized the Islamic clerics in Kaduna. And what did they do? They preached what actually segregated the Christians and Muslims in Kaduna today. And it worked. Now, this is a 7 million naira that has been paid out as a upfront, like a deposit. Now, on Friday, this Friday, you are going to go to the mosque in Kaduna, and they're going to tell you why Labour Party is Igbo Party. Why Labour Party and these people are coming to come and wipe off Islam. They are coming to wipe off everybody. And Allah said, if anybody try to come and take our religion, we must kill them. So anybody that is against El Rufai candidate is enemy of Islam. And all of you say, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And they will do all that jack nonsense. And you won't know that they were paid to further entrench that hatred that they have implanted in you. To entrench that fear that they have implanted in you. To wake all of the vileness they have put in you. Because at the end of the day, you will think you are fighting to save Islam. You are fighting to save Yoruba land. You are fighting to save Igbo land. You are fighting to save this or that. No, you are not. No, you are not. That's how it works. They pay Islamic clerics to preach about APC, Egbekegbe, to the people that are suffering in the hands of APC, Egbekegbe. Let me show you something. You know, Southern Kaduna, every time Southern Kaduna is in the news, it's so sad since APC, Egbekegbe came into power. It's been such sad story, genocide, killings, kidnapping, destruction, burning, arson, and so many horrible things. For the first time in a long time, I no go deny you, I saw something good news from Southern Kaduna. Do you know when that was? Now, when Peter Obi visited them, and they all came out like, man, these people have seen Shege. Guess what? They were to be punished for it. Okay? As much as they have been so traumatized, killed, sent to different IDP camps, chased out of their lands. In Kaduna, you cannot defend the Southern Kadunas. You may lose your life. That's how serious it is. Or lose your freedom. Immediately after the old election and all that, now PDP win Kaduna. El Rufaya lost almost all of the National Assembly seats, including presidential elections. Now the people of Southern Kaduna, Christians in Southern Kaduna, received the attacks after the elections. And it didn't take long before this happened to them. 17 people were slaughtered in a single day by Fulani terrorists. And they are paying our fast, paying mosques to continue to preach that religious supremacy until they will wipe off the entire infidels in southern Kaduna. I didn't say that. That's exactly what they have been saying. We will kill you. You think you can use all of you Christians here to make Obi president of Nigeria? You will pay. How then do you call that country, one Nigeria? Can you at least be honest for once, for the sake of these people?
If this government is a government we all work together to bring into power, what have we done so bad that our people are being killed in their numbers and the government is mute about it? Now, what we want as a people, as a nation, is the security personnel in this land are no longer protecting us. It is the responsibility of government to protect our lives and our properties. But because government is not doing that, we are begging government. We are on our knees asking the government to repatriate all the security personnel. We want to take our fate in our hands. We return back to go to from whom we came. Exactly. And we are pleading any further delay, the government should not blame us. Yes. Definitely. We have nothing. We have no power. We have no weapons. But we have God. Exactly. And in that God we are going to turn to. Yes. But I want to plead with you. Please, let's continue to show love to one another. Let's continue to be law-abiding citizens. Let's continue to protect ourselves. Let's continue to defend ourselves. If this government is a government...
Imagine you being endangered in your country because some people felt like your political association is going to undermine their superiority, especially their religion. And they believe that so strongly that if you are dead, you won't have that chance again to actually have, put up a number to threaten their source of survival, which is government. So using religion as a cover. It's sad, isn't it? That is APC, Egbe for you. Deadly people, deadly and dangerous people. They rigged the election in Lagos. And they brag out there that they just let the Lagos go. No, they didn't. I told you they didn't. And I've also told you, on Saturday, you are going to witness a never seen before rigging. No matter how much you have prepared or you are ready. As you are watching this video right now, one of the things they discovered is that there was no plan for that surprise that you, Obedient, pulled in Lagos. Okay? And they are never going to let that happen again. And some of you are saying that you are also ready for them. But here is something I want you to know. No matter how ready you are, the people that want to rig you, they are not the Tinubu's thugs. They are not those who are making mouth, who are doing all, you know what I mean? They are not those who are going to physically attack your polling unit. Those are not the people that want to rig you. The whole rigging is going to be done by INEC. And as you are watching this video, it has already been concluded. Rigging starts from entrusting vital electoral materials, entrusting them into the hands of compromised people. So it all starts from the recruitment for those who are going to handle your critical voting or electoral materials. And whoever appoints those people controls 80% of what is going to be the end result of that election. It doesn't matter. Whether it holds or it doesn't hold, it doesn't really matter. The violence, the burning of voters' card, attacking voters, sending you not to come out, all those ones are the daytime distraction. Beavers won't load. Some of you won't be able to vote as well. All of these are orchestrated by INEC. That is the rigging that happens before you are given that first ballot. Trust me, that is the real thing. So you are going to be enraged. Look at you. You all recorded the brutalization, including killings of those who stood with the obedient that they want to make Obi president. Remember that. You are raging and angry now with the level of evidence you have come across. The rigging, you are not accepting it, Abi. They don't care. And all winning and winning. Their supporters, they know they don't have the number to continue to put these criminals in power. But they are very strong. They will be disappointed if their leaders fail to use that power to rig. They believe that rig first. At least first rig. When you rig, then we can go and fight for it later. Don't let them rig you. Don't let them defeat you. If they defeat you, you know if you fight. That's the philosophy of APC, in case if you don't know. And for Lagos, you are going to witness. In fact, some of you will actually televise it. You are going to stream a never seen before rigging. You are going to see them announce results that doesn't exist. You are going to be enraged more than what happened on the 25th of February. It's all done. And that's why I keep asking all the time that when that happens, what are you going to do? Maiyegun, you know if it happen, Maiyegun, I know all of that. I'm just saying. Because what happened on the 25th of February, according to these criminals, it caught them unaware. And they will put everything in it. Currently, INEC have started replacing their staff who worked on the 25th of February. Do you know that? As you are working to make sure you defend yourself against thugs, touts, vote buyers, and the rest, they are already changing the INEC staff that are going to actually conduct your elections. Guess what, They are APC members. Tell me you don't know that, Abi. Or tell me you actually knew that. Do you know that, Abi? Do you know that's actually a rigging that happens before rigging? You don't know that? Well, now you do. They are already replacing all those voters, what do you call it, that you saw on the 25th. You won't see them again, including youth corpers. And they have just one single job: to frustrate you from trying to pull any numbers to shut them. And when the number begins to look like not theirs, Beavers will begin to not work again. Hey, Beavers is not working again. Oh, this INEC will never learn. This INEC chairman must go to jail. They will announce winner. They will tell you that they have re-elected Sonweiku. That is when you understand that some of us feels like it is not worth it to invest any emotion or expectation on what they are doing in Nigeria. You don't believe me, Abi? One of them went on TV and boldly said, they lost, they rigged, they still lost. He said, what happened on the 25th? That Ashiwaju lost in Lagos. It will never happen again. And they will make sure of it.
Well, we're not particularly too surprised at the hurricane that swept our electoral fortunes, natural electoral fortunes in Lagos 2 weeks ago. We recognize the factors that accounted for that slight low performance. Can you share
some of the factors with us?
Yes, basically, first of all, our children are still smarting from the events of NSAS. The Muslim ticket thing got Peter Obi to, actually rode on the, religious factor to power. I mean, he wanted to ride on it to power. So he was hopping from church to church to tell them, take your country back, as if though the country really belongs to the Christians and somebody took it from them. Wrong politicking, if I must say, but those were. So the Christians started to feel as if, okay, we must vote out a Muslim and we must not allow a Muslim ticket to hold. That worked against us, particularly some churches actually, came very hard on their members, actually, telling them do not vote for X or Y. So that, worked against us. The tribal, factor. Obi played a tribal politics, and that again worked against us. The Igbo community came together, in one block and gave their vote to Obi. Those three factors worked against us considerably.
So how do you think you would fare this Saturday?
Oh yeah, this Saturday is a different kettle of fish because we were caught unawares to a large extent. It was an insurgence upon our political stability and fortress. They actually came without us actually expecting. Now that they have done it, we are now very much awake, and we now know where and what to do to ensure that a repeat of such calamity does not happen. Why do I call it a calamity? People do not even understand. People do not understand the enormity of what it will be for Labour Party to win Lagos State. And I want to use this opportunity to explain, a lot of things. Now, there's a secessionist group called IPOB, prohibited, which the federal government of Nigeria had prohibited. They have but they are still operating very, very, actively in the East, to the extent that a certain day of the week is a no-go, no outing. The whole place is a holiday, and everybody has, and lot of killings, burnings, everything happening in the East. There was never a time that Peter Obi spoke against IPOB. And the kind of political fortunes, electoral fortunes, Peter Obi recorded in the East is an indication that IPOB worked for him.
Did you see how those two presenters were looking at him? Let me kind of chip in something here. You see, an average APC member does not actually feel like APC has failed in Nigeria. They don't see it. They just see your reactions as you hating them for who they are, not their act of irresponsibility that they never take any responsibility for anything. They actually don't see the ruin and destruction they have brought upon Nigeria as anything that should warrant you not to support them. Then they are so good in gaslighting the people. And that is when he quickly deviated. He said it was an insurgence. It was an insurgency. It was a tsunami against their political fortress, Lagos. They were sleeping before. Now they are awake. So to explain to people why they must keep them is because if they vote a Yoruba man or a Lagosian or running under Labour Party in Lagos, they are going to bring IPOB to Lagos. Do you get that? Did you see that switch? It's deliberate. It's called dog whistle and gaslighting. What brought IPOB to what happened in Lagos? It simply means that they haven't learned any lesson at all. Statistically, the Yorubas, who are Lagosians, actually controls, or should I say they constitute over 80% of the population of Lagos. Yorubas. The Igbos, including generational Lagosian Igbos, plus or minus, they put their numbers somewhere around 10%. The other 10% or less than 10% is shared by other ethnic nationalities who are non-Yorubas across Nigeria. How can you then base your campaign on tribal hatred, tribal bigotry, divisive rhetorics, and then scare or fear-mongering because of 10% of the population, ignoring the 80% that are also victims of a bad governance in Lagos? They don't see that. So they are still pushing the narrative of IPOB, this, IPOB, that. But behind the scene, they are frustrated. Yeah, you can quote me anywhere. They are frustrated. It got to a stage that they said that Elegushi that got beaten in Etiosa local government area, they beat him Bala Bulu, Bulu Bala, blue black. That's what I'm saying. The former personal assistant to Tinubu, and then a political oba of Elegushi of Egushi. The guy had to declare a 7-day Oro festival to further scare minority that doesn't really make much impact on the number that they call tsunami, hurricane. And Lagos as their fortress. And the Lagosians are worried. They want to deal with them. And these guys are still pushing tribal this, tribal that. When Sanwo-Iku have started stunned himself to Usher. He stunned himself to... He visits everywhere right now. Trying to tell them that, sorry, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Joe. After they went on, after all of their incitements and mobilization, and they sent their own thugs to burn down the auto spare parts in Akere. That is in Ajegule. Akere, auto spare parts markets. Majorly, populated by the Igbo traders. Out of this whole thread, they burned down the whole market. And they continue to threaten people, including Yorubas in Lagos. And guess what? It's okay, fine. Now that Shinedu go they go vote for. Yeah, Yorubas are now telling them, you are calling us Omoale. You are scared that you are not going to get free money again. All of this, your career, politics, you would have to go and fight for whatever crumbs is available for you in Abuja. You are condescendingly looking down on the Yorubas. You are looking for who to blame, to kill, to destroy. But you are ignoring the people that are actually dealing with you, the ones that will deal with you. On the 25th of February, when they were doing their elections, these people will not get sense. They were targeting and looking for Igbos. At first, through INEC, they make sure that anybody with Igbo name, go see your voter's card. If you ever going to see your voter's card, your name, you're not going to see your name at your polling unit. They ensured of that. They were targeting the non-Yorubas. They were what? They were expecting that out of a sense of entitlement, they expected the Yorubas naturally to follow them because Yorubas are what? Or they are be. So while they are wasting their energy, all of their plan on Igbos and non-Yorubas, in fact, especially Igbos, they were ignoring the Yorubas. Now, everybody went to the polling unit. Less number of Igbos. All the areas that they have, highest number of non-Yorubas, Lagosians, they went there to suppress them, unleash violence. Areas that they knew that Yorubas are many, that they naturally believe that they will vote for them, they just give them free hand. Can't see waiting they happen. The shock MC Olueron, that he became Alhaji Sheikh MC Olueron. He started praying for people in Lagos. Joe now, I beg you now. Last man and the rest of them, they started dancing Iju Eleya. And the rest. Trust me. Behind the scene, Sanwo-Iku had to go back to that same market they burned down. Okay? And he gave them money. Hey, Joe, please. A lot of people all over the world are not happy that we burnt your markets. Okay? He hasn't condemned all of this violence and this threat on social media, offline, everywhere. They are threatening people that if they burn you well, come out that day and vote against Tinubu, against Sonweku. All of you, because you are angry with Tinubu Abi, because of one man, you now want to, continuity is what we want. You are threatening people on social media. And Sonweku never actually sanctioned to say, please don't do this. Please stop threatening people. Please, this is not my Lagos. Your Lagos is our Lagos. It should be ours. So instead of all of these things to work, they seem to be making things difficult for Jide. Their Jide had to go to Akere. He gave them 100 million. He also went there with some pieces of fabricated blocks, right? And then cement and gravel. And he also turned to bricklayer, trying to rebuild the market. Maybe he can actually do a miracle. Rebuild the Akere market. Pay all of the traders that lost all their wares in 3 days. As it be so, let's say if you call Sonweku, someone said, hello, Governor Sanwo-Olu. I don't understand this sun. No, this sun is too high. It's very warm. You need to do something about this sun, no, because election is Saturday, oh, before I change my mind, though. That's the joke right now on social media. Ask him anything, he's going to do it. Just do small video and say, Sanwo-Olu, we are going to fight you. They will come and give you something. They will come and beg you. Sanwo-Olu will come everywhere right now. All because of the obedience. They are threatening people on one side. On the other side, they turn Sanwo-Olu into... watch this.
People and government of Lagos State, this is to present 100 million naira for the traders that are carrying motor spare parts traders that are here. That we promise that will make this available to them.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Excellency. Only thing I have to say here is to thank you. May God Almighty God continue to bless you forever and ever. All of us here must come out and vote for our Excellency, full of time. We believe in you now, fully, because before they are trying to confuse us. But now we know what you can do to us.
Do you get that? Everybody must come out fully to vote for. It took a second look at that number, 100 million naira. Is this even real? For our governor. Before they are trying to confuse us. Remember Gbadebo went there and he gave them 15 million. Sure, you remember? Now, the guy is like, I have to be very careful of what I say here. I need to say something that Sanwo-Olu is going to be kind of at peace and say, okay, finally. It be like say they don't say they forgive me. We all must come out and vote for 100 million for our governor before they are trying to confuse us. But with this 100 million, we are no longer confused. We are confused.com. Oh yeah, funny. Give an Obe really mix the whole thing before Sanwo-Olu became governor. Oh, not your Zuri. Let's build another Akere market. See? What else do you want him to do? They burned down a multi-million naira market, and he came back to give them multi-million naira. 100 million naira is multi-million. What else do you want him to do? He has gone as far as even going to Kirikiri maximum security prison, where they locked hundreds of End SARS protesters almost 3 years ago. Brother, almost 3 years ago. APC, Egbekegbe, turned their barrel, gun, tanks, everything on their own citizens for demanding an end to police brutality in Nigeria. They killed hundreds of them. And they kidnapped thousands of them, locked them away. Obedient are frustrated Sanwo-Iku. Lagos State governor that doesn't control the police or control the military or prison. They don't go release all the people where they lock up, where they deny them bail for 3 years. 3 days to elections. They released them today. Look at this guy.
Aruna. Waiting happen. Where you take go, where you go?
That answer stand. So, for the answer.
Okay.
Police, backwards.
Okay.
From station.
Waiting be today's date. Today now waiting.
Yeah.
Today now Wednesday, February 15, 2023.
Yes.
March 15, 2023. Okay. I dey hear you, my brother.
As they took us police station, from police station to SARS. As they took us to SARS, they took us to court. As they took us to court, from that day, they now took us to prison.
Imagine.
From there, they just dumb us there.
For there?
Yes. I was almost there for 2 years, 6 months. I never go court.
Imagine. Because of end SARS protest, they just carry you to court today because election, governorship election, they call.
And they bring me to prison.
See, slippers, so to prove say he just come out, you know they see him.
11 of us were
11 people now they just leave. Imagine. No worry. People wait there online. We have NGOs online that will take up the matter. No worry. They took you out. Where they carry you go? Which prison they carry you go? Kirikiri. Imagine. And we dey country wey say get government, get everything. No worry. We go get your contact. I will get back to you. Brother, wetin be your name?
So that is Nigeria. There are still hundreds of them like that, locked up all over Nigeria. Enugu, Abia, Rivers, Ibadan, Oshogbo, all over the place. They were locked down. They were locked up for coming out to participate in that nationwide protests called End SARS. Just think about that. That's Nigeria. I'm telling you, that's what Nigeria did. Or that's what Nigeria have done to our youth. Destroy them, break them, oppress them, brutalize them, do a lot of horrible things to break their will until they are no longer able or capable to even stand up to ask any question, talk less of them standing up to fight the establishment. Some of you have no idea that it's all systemic. It is all planned, unfortunately, because the same youth that they told to participate in politics, if they don't like how they are being governed, right before their very eyes, in that same Lagos. So imagine this young man receiving threats. How could this one be a threat to those who are supposed to be popular? They have ruled Lagos for 24 years. They are supposed to be like household days. They shouldn't be threatening people, including their own young people. That's how sad APC Egbekegbe is. Very, very sad. Let me take you to Ikorodu, a young man.
Good morning, my fellow Nigerians. Good morning, my obedient family for within Nigeria. I want to use this opportunity to talk about the threats where they get from opposition parties concerning this governorship election. I don't get 3 different calls from people I don't know saying I cannot come out on election day. It's not supposed to be so. Because I say the campaign for my own president, for the person I like, at the campaign for him. Come be say make I come dey receive threats from people. It is not supposed to be like this. No be the Nigeria where we dey ask for with that. No be the Nigeria where we dey ask for. We can't. We know if we make them if not like this. We want to go about say somebody campaign for your own person. Okay, now at the campaign for Vivo Madibo, now threats don't they come out here and there. Three people. As a matter of fact, one person just leaked the secret to me saying they the meeting when they discuss when they discuss about me, waiting they won't do me on the election day. It is not supposed to be like that. It is not supposed to be like that. I just want to beg everybody, me wanna come out, vote, no fight. Nobody's worth dying for. No fight, just come out and just go and vote, defend your vote, and see what God is going to do this time again. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Like, that's exactly what it should be, Abi. Sure you get. Oh yeah, let us all go there and vote. And then we see if you are more than us, you win. If we are more than you, we win. Is that not what election should be? But Nigeria is not like that. APC, Egbekegbe, on social media, they are boldly writing and typing and telling people who are living in Lagos, if them born you well, come out that day. You will see what will happen. Continue to make your mouth, even Obi no go save you. And all that kind of thing. And you begin to say, are you not supposed to be popular? Are you actually not supposed to be the biggest party? How could you be so rattled? How could you be so scared of people that you publicly said can never win, to the point that you are threatening them, and you actually they caught somebody's hand because it is about to be for Lagos, amputated somebody's hand. Kilo de kilo leto. But anyway, as roguish as thuggish as APC Lagos Abobakus are, so are some of the ridiculous political obas too. Honestly speaking, they said that Oba Elegushi declared Oro Festival 7 days. It was supposed to be rounded up on the 11th of March to scare off all of the non-Yorubas from coming out to come and vote against Sanwo-Iku. They said, no. We are postponing the elections. When INEC postponed the election, Elegushi, kí lorúkọ wèrè yẹn náà? Kí lorúkọ wèrè Elegushi yẹn náà? Ṣé Wasiu àbí kí ló ń jẹ́ náà? Sorry, kí lorúkọ wèrè yẹn? Right, doesn't matter. Somebody will remind me. Anyway, they said the political Oba that consulted the Ifa Oracle that they should do Oro so that they will not lose Lagos from Etiosa. The Oro now said, for them not to lose Lagos, they must do Oro for 7 days so that Sanwo-Iku can win. Pastor Sanwo-Iku. Now, when INEC postponed the election, Said Elegushi. So, you are calling that one Oba as well? Maiyegun, this is why I don't like you. You should not. You are a Yoruba man. Stop insulting king. We don't insult Oba. So Saidi no Oba abi. So Elegushi no Oba. And how can you please remind me in Yoruba history? So your own Elegushi Oba. I mean, who was that? Mufutau Elegushi. Is that the ancestor of the Babish area of Lagos, Abi? They descended from Ile-Ife, Abi? Abi na from, where did they descend from? Bodilon. Eti Yawiri. Don't be everybody where they put crown for head be Oba. If you meet real Yorubas, they will tell you, we have political Obas. And then we have traditional Obas who have gone political, lost value, and we can prove it. So Benny, no de sorry Emi ila to wa lójú mi so fẹ́ pé ìlà àwọn bàrìbà ni àbí wèrè lélẹ́yìn ni ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí náà I'm a Yorùbá man ṣé ò ń ṣe eré ni. We know the history of all the real Yorubas in the real Obas in Yoruba land. Show Shoko ni. So Said Elegushi na Oba. So if I call Elegushi now, you say you are insulting Oriade Olufo. Anyway, for the sake of non-Yorubas who are listening to me anyway, so we have political Obas. And majority of them are loyal to their political godfathers. Okay? So therefore, one of them in Lagos, bragging and moving about like a king. It's not a king, oh. No, it's not a king. It's not even a ballet. Sure you get. However, he believes he's scaring the non-Yorubas away from coming to the poll. So that, so when INEC postponed the elections, Saidi also postponed Oro. Irumole postponing Ojo Isheshe. I have never, see, I am from Ijebu. Sure you get. In Ijebu, right? We have a different Isheshe day and all that stuff, okay? So, we do our Asemo. When I was growing up, before things started changing, okay? So, we do our Oro festival once every year. And usually, we do it between the month of September and October, okay? Where only males, right? Only men will be outside, boys and men. Women will be indoor. So the full day we will do Oro, we are chasing all the evil spirit away from our land. We are chasing all that stuff, right? Traditionally. So in Lagos, the likes of Saidi, Alhaji Saidi, they are trying to rewrite the history of Yoruba land to start with, right? Saidi also had to use Oro for politics. You have used religion, you have used Christianity, you have used Islam, you have used Allah, you have used Shineke Godu, you have used all those things, right? Now you want to use our Oro in Yoruba land for politics. They have to postpone Oro. So they have started Oro in Etiosa, local government area of Lagos State, by the way, the mega city of Tinubu's Bodilon. However, people took it on. They say, I don't believe them. Oh, person where they call Chinedu, see the person that is actually giving them sleepless nights. Somebody who is 40 years old. You see, personally, I am supposed to be like, not talk to you. Okay? If you are somebody, who actually is joining them to spread this propaganda, this and that, all because you want to save these criminals they are feeding bottle. They're not going to even remember you and all that. You are sharing bad, fake, divisive messages because of a 40-years-old man. A lot of you at the age of 50, 55, you are begging to be a PA in a local government. A lot of you are still there, queuing for the past 24 years when you are just about 20, maybe when you are about 25 years old. Democracy started to as a young man, you join them, you join the queue. Waiting for your turn. 24 years after that, ordinary councillor, they never give you. At your age, 45, 50 years, you are jumping here and there to look for special advisor to governor, a special advisor to commissioner. Yes, Abuja. Yes, we are following you to Abuja. Yes, you know that I have served you for so long ago. I am happy and congratulations on all that nonsense that you are doing. Then you kind of sit down to attack a 40-year-old man. As in, personally, I keep wondering that you have to now call your own brother, deny him, gaslight them. You are calling him Chinedu, as if to say there is something wrong bearing Chinedu. If you are, if you are a product of intertribal marriages. Now today, Yorubas, they marry from outside Yoruba land, and Yolori Buashire, almost 40 years. That is the moment I felt like, yay, you can't save these people. Oh, my Lule, Saturday. Maiyegun, you will see what will happen on Saturday. He should go to Anambra and become something in Anambra. That is somebody. You can't sit him down and say, can you explain to me in 5 simple sentences the beneficiary that you have actually, the benefit that you have actually gotten, being a Nigerian, being a Yoruba man, and being a Lagosian? Can you please explain them? They can't. Inwendu, you are happy that your slave masters are going to stop somebody that should be inspiring you. You should be inspired and say, what am I doing with my life? I am still chasing crumbs, feeding bottle and all of that from these criminals. A 40-year-old young man actually want to send them to their retirement, and you want to help them stop it by using Oruabi. Come on. But tell me what's remedy. You're supposed to fight them. Don't believe anybody that you say you get hope. I mean, you can say you don't like him. You can say that he's not experienced. You can say other things. But becoming so bigoted, Shinedu, they won't do Oro. Because on Saturday they say, now that Shinedu go, they go vote for. Now you need the number to stop them, not the violence. I wish. Listen to him. I actually kind of wish some of you can actually go to bed tonight and think about your life. Okay? Just think about your life. See your life.
Good morning, Lagos. It's important that I address you because some rumors have been circulating that certain traditional rulers, Bale of Ijegun, Elegushi, are declaring Oro Festival that's supposed to start today and go all the way to Saturday. Our intelligence reporters said that this is unconfirmed, it is a lie, and it is false. These are rumors that people are putting out just to intimidate or scare you. Traditional rulers know better than doing any festival that will in any way disenfranchise any voters. Carry on our activities. We have barely 3 days to go. Interact, network, ensure that we get the maximum voter turnout in these local governments, and be rest assured that we are going to come out in force to ensure that we resist any form of intimidation or harassment on Saturday, and our votes are going to count because we are going to follow through and make sure it counts. Thank you. God bless you.
Papa, Mama, and Pikin, vote.
Like, even if you don't participate in the election and all of that, like, do you really have to be that stupid? That after the first time you were pushing this tribal nonsense, you got burned, violence and all of that. You are so confident that the Yorubas are going to consider you the same ones that rejected Tinubu, the godfather of Sanwo-Iku, and they beat him in Lagos. Now Sanwo-Iku is more loved than his godfather. They play. Shongbo. They play. Okay? So, rig them. But when you do, you always have to watch your back. I think that's what we can deduce from that, right? You always have to watch your back. All right? Although we know that Atiku doesn't really have to celebrate anything. And it seems that he's not even going to fight that much. Okay? They say the numbers are not adding up. Are you with me? However, does that even stop him from asking all of you, 6.9 million of you, that INEC allocated to him, that you should, why is he not out there supporting their PDP candidate everywhere? Sure, you get like their PDP candidate who wants to be governors. Where is Atiku? Probably preparing to go back to Dubai. I don't know. But where is Kolu? Are the APC governorship candidates across Nigeria, are they not supposed to be using Kolu's image as the president-elect, appealing to the 8.7 million people that voted for Tinubu, that they should vote for them too, so that they can work and help Tinubu? How come that is not happening? Well, I tell you, you shouldn't bother yourself for answer, okay? Because you probably won't have anything to do with the answer, because there is none. In Akwa Ibom State, things have gone so bad that their governorship candidate is promising them that if they vote for him, PDP governorship candidate, he said, if you vote for me, Remember that PDP is currently the government in Akwa Ibom. Yes, PDP, Udom. The person that Udom wants to make the next governor of Akwa Ibom State, when they asked him that, you see these states, there is, in Akwa Ibom, there is over 80% unemployment in Akwa Ibom. In fact, politicians and then their politics, the politics of chop I chop, take this, share money, buy drinks, buy ECAU, Asun, and the rest for the poor and the young people in Akwa Ibom. That is what they call dividend of democracy in that part of Nigeria. You won't believe it. You know, they built structures, they built, standard stadiums, they've built, edifices here and there, but they are just what they have built. The real economy to create jobs and create wealth is not there. Because they have been so unfortunate with criminals, just like all of us from every part of Nigeria. Unfortunate with criminals who have been in charge of our own affairs, remember? But you see this one that is coming, it's even worse. What are you going to do about this unemployment in Akwa Ibom? He said, to start with, when I become governor of Akwa Ibom State, all of you Akwa Ibomites, you should go and be rest assured, I am going to subsidize meat. I am going to subsidize mekwe. That is, if you want chop life, enjoy your life. If you go anywhere in Akwa Ibom to enjoy your life, you will receive subsidy. For example, if you drink 10 bottles of Heinekens and you eat 4 plates of ECAU or Asun or Point and Kill, you will get discount, subsidy, state-sponsored subsidy. Just mention my name. Instead of you paying this amount, you will only pay this amount every Friday and Saturday in Akwa Ibom State. It's not a joke. Don't laugh. A governorship candidate that is likely going to be the governor when they will rig him, made that promise to that people in that state. And guess what? People who sat with him, they were masked. Like, did he just say that? Yes, he did. He said that. Here.
We'll open up. So we pick them randomly and we send someone there. Give us all our young people. I tell you one thing. Every Friday, I will have what I call happy hour for the state. And it's simple. What do I want to do with happy hour? I want to create business for people that have facility. So we declare that, okay, you know what? Between 5 and 6, these are the bars that will.
So that's going to be the title of that project. Happy Hour. Go to Akwa Ibom every weekend. Some designated hotels and businesses, the state will give them money. So that when you go in, go and have an happy hour. He elaborated further. This is the plan for the people of Akwa Ibom. Happy hour.
We'll open up. So we pick them randomly and we send someone there. Give us these drinks. As people come, if you were to sell for 200, please sell for 50 naira because we've paid you. And we get Akwa Ibom to relax. Get Akwa Ibom to relax. You know, all work without play makes Jack a dull boy. We will mix play. I believe that if you work hard, you should rest well. So, Akwa Ibom.
Do you get that? Yeah, that's a governorship candidate in one of the oil-rich states in Nigeria called Akwa Ibom. You are laughing. People are laughing. You shouldn't be laughing. It's funny, and it's not funny as well. That is the kind of an idea of the type of leaders ruling Nigeria or aspiring to rule Nigeria. So where is that hope coming from? Maybe from the obedience that will never give up. I'll take you to Jos. This was a place where we saw Obi the obedient, doing what they know how to do best, meeting the people, asking them, please, join us. Milk will stop this structure of criminality. But if you are fighting for Africans, from what I have read repeatedly, when you are fighting for the rights of Africans, you would have to be using just one hand to fight their oppressors, and your second hand to protect yourselves from their own attacks. Because Africans, they would attack you for exposing their oppressors who send you. Now we send you. Shall we send you? You are abusing our leaders. You this Maiyegun, shut up your mouth. So you have to be like that. As you are fighting the criminals, you also have to protect yourself from their victims who are never going to be comfortable with you calling out those criminals. Unfortunately. So yeah, when they tell you about hope, I think this is where they're getting it from. Something like this. It's been a while, Abi. Let's go to Jos, where I saw the obedience today, ladies and gentlemen, and Obi himself.
demonstrated what anybody can say is an extravagant love.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm sincerely grateful for it. More than seeing the people, why do I want to come and see you in Jos? So I must come and I'll run round of all those who contested. I don't think you see any of them going around. Is anyone going around?
Yes.
But that is not Plateau State is one of those places that I can call home. And I assure you, your support will not be in vain. I'm going to come back here, no matter what happens, and show you what I consider a big thank you for your support. And I know we're going to succeed. And you see this state come back to what it used to be. So what I'm pleading with you, I know how you feel, I know what you want. Just like people in every other place want to say to me, please come. You know, let me tell you, just come. That you have to be here, you have to be here. You can check, we have about 18 places to go, and it's not only me going there. So I assure you of my commitment. Then I said, no, I said, it's only this morning that I called him. So it wasn't this thing. It wasn't planned. It wasn't anything. I know that my reason for coming, like I said, is far more than what we're doing here. There were other issues. And that issues, we've been able to discuss it, deal with it.
Building materials, just building materials. Doctor.
Bongom just balance. Bongom just balance. Bongom just balance. Bongom just balance.
Five, 46, 247, 248, 249, 250. Ovi for president. Ovi for president. Hey, Ovi, Fita, Ovi, I love you, Wallahi. Fita, Ovi, I love you, Wallahi.
Just so you know, you don't need to win core north of Nigeria to become president of Nigeria. That's another myth that disobedience have exposed. And it is actually good for mention. But I'll tell you more about that some other time. So when they push all of the agendas they have been pushing, what they are doing is that they are just somehow kind of fulfilling prophecy, fulfilling asotele for Nigeria to break up. Now the people holding her together, now them go activate them. If you find yourself in a hole, the ideal thing is to stop digging. Remember? Because if you continue digging, that means you haven't learned and you are likely about to bury yourself. That's exactly what the greed of the criminal politicians in Nigeria has brought upon them. They are the people that will break Nigeria, my dear brothers and sisters. Now, una de delay am. Honestly, I know you probably don't understand that, or you do understand it. Every time you validate anything they push forward, directly or indirectly, right? What you are doing is that you are delaying that breakup. Because you see these guys, their greed and selfishness, self-centeredness, the corruption that they have actually like institutionalized in Nigeria, human rights abuses and all those, right? They are the ingredient of a broken country. So force only can keep it together. If the world warns you about the danger of APC, Egbekegbe, getting away with what they have done, it's not because they love you or they care. Not really. It's because they know that Nigeria is broken beyond any sort of healing. And for Nigeria to survive what is coming, then there must be true justice. And not just that justice is done, it must be seen to be done. Do you understand? Nigeria is imploding, exploding, and it is happening from within due to the greed of Nigeria elites. And trust me, the end goal is in nobody's favor, including the Westerns. I mean, the West. When I say the West, I'm talking about the Oyibos that they actually make you think. Are also part of this, whatever it is. I'm just saying. Everybody is worried, genuinely. And you should too. In a country that is meant to be one country, but so divided that all you have to do wrong, being a Nigerian, is just to know where you come from. Do you get that? Now, the whole thing is now transcending into which political party does your parents support? Because it's going to get to a stage whereby if your parents are from a particular side of Nigeria, you will be discriminated against now. And as a child, you may even be denied education. Honestly. That is where Nigeria is descending to. Nobody goes that dark route and comes back again. So, if you are going through hell, somebody said we should keep going. Yeah, Nigeria is going through hell. Please keep going. At the end of the day, you would understand that the journey they have been taking us all through. In fact, the destination of this particular journey is total disaster. When is it going to happen? Very soon. Imagine your child returning back home and say, we are sending your child back because you supported Obi. In Lagos, your mama supported Obi, your papa supported Obi, we are not giving you education in Lagos. That is where we are descending to. Yeah. And messages like this are always meant to justify it. Fear-mongering, scare-mongering. Naira land is the headquarters of the APC, Egbekegbe's bigotry, including bigoted Igbos too. Because let's be very clear, there are so many Igbos who are also kind of fantasizing with this kind of, hateful rhetoric. But you see, doing it in the name of a political party, it's a different ball game entirely. It is just, what do you call it? A recipe for disaster. Two Yorubas are running to be governors in Lagos, a Yoruba land. APC, Egbekegbe went on, to tag those Yorubas and their supporters, who are also Lagosians and Yorubas, as enemies of Yoruba land in favor of APC, Egbekegbe. What do you think that is going to be like? It is a recipe for disaster. If they tell you that Nigeria is going to survive this, maybe when those who are digging this well, who are digging these pits, just maybe if they stop. And from my own experience, they will never stop until somebody stops them. And stopping them in this case may actually not be in the interest of Nigeria as well. Stopping this criminal from their ruinous and destructive ways, destructive and ruinous politics that will eventually help Nigeria to break up into pieces. Many, many nations rising from the rubble of a destroyed Nigeria. They will do it. And we hope they will do it peacefully, not violently. But it seems that the latter is unavoidable. Thank you for spending your evening with me tonight. Choose your poison. Choose your battle. When you go out to fight for anything, just make sure that you are not actually indirectly fighting for the same people that prompted you to fight in the first place. You know, Nigeria is so bad. We must fight. This country is so terrible. We must defend ourselves. I'm tired of Nigeria and the rest of that. Some people made you do that, you know. Whatever frustration you are facing right now, discrimination, marginalization, and even state-sponsored profiling that you might be suffering right now, just remember what I said. And I hope, indeed, that you will choose your poison quite intelligent. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you again and again. Now we'll see you some other time. Like this broadcast. Again, if you have not been receiving notification on my YouTube channel after you subscribed, check if you haven't changed your device lately. Maybe you are using a phone to watch Maiyegun before or something, or you are on your TV. You signed in into your TV. So you need to sign in into YouTube, okay? Which means you need to sign in into the Gmail stuff there. If you don't have a Gmail account, like maiyegun@gmail.com or something like that, right? Open one, get an email, go on YouTube and click on a profile and sign in with your ID. You'll be able to actually receive all notifications. You will be able to also like, share, or even subscribe on Maiyegun's Diary Politico. But if you are not really logged in or signed in on YouTube, if you are just like somebody who just types YouTube and you search for what you want to see, and then you just click on them if they are on, you are not likely going to be able to like my broadcast. And you're also not likely going to be able to receive notifications when Maiyegun is live. So if you have been in this category, change your phone recently or change your device recently, I advise you to check if your YouTube is logged in or signed in. Thank you and good night. From here, sweet dreams.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Maiyegun Diary Politico.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Maiyegun Diary Nayibi #1.
àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sè mọ́bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ̀ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.